Hello, BookTube. I'm doing a kind of a buddy read of a weird, disjointed manner with David Wiley and Tony from An Erudite Adventure of The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. I feel a little bit naughty. Yesterday was reading Tolkien Day, and I didn't do it. I didn't do a Tolkien video yesterday, but I'm here today, and I'm here to continue. And unlike my co-hosts, I'm not doing the Return of the King. We're doing the Return of the King now. I'm not doing it in blocks of chapters. I'm doing it one chapter at a time. Which I'm loving, and I'm encouraged to continue because a lot of you are loving it too. It's been showing me a lot of things, generating a lot of questions. I don't have many questions about the chapter that we're reading today. We are getting near the end of The Return of the King. We're on the field of Cormallen, which is the chapter immediately after the ring is destroyed. That's why I should have read something yesterday, because March the 25th is the date when the ring is destroyed. But I didn't do it. Tony did. He did a video about a great video discussing who is the character of Tom Bombadil, going over all of the theories that have been floated around about who Tom Bombadil is. I had no idea, for instance, that there was a theory that Bombadil is the Witch King of Angmar. I had no idea. That's so utterly nonsensical. I mean, and Tony rightfully rips it to shreds because it's just a silly thing to do. I have my own theory, but it's not going to happen in this chapter, because in this chapter very little happens. Basically, what happens in this chapter, Frodo and Sam have succeeded in destroying the One Ring, and that is causing the fires of Mount Doom of Orodruin to erupt. They are certain they're going to die, that they're going to be swept away in a torrent of what we would consider a pyroclastic flow, because they're not Galadriel from the Rings of Power, who can stand straight in the path of pyroclastic flow and be unharmed. Not even her armor harmed. Not even her hair singed. Because she apparently is from Krypton. She's completely invulnerable. So she stands directly in the path of an onrushing pyroclastic flow and is not hurt in any way. But Frodo and Sam are male characters, so they are not invulnerable to physical harm. So they're assuming they're going to die, and it's only the intervention of the eagles that fly to the ruin of Orodruin and save them. And they're both passed out by this point. And all that the Field of Cormallen is as a chapter is them waking up and realizing that all is well. That the good guys have won. That a great shadow has departed, as Gandalf puts it. They're on a field with pavilions. All is well. All are healed. Frodo has lost a finger, of course, but they're all... they have gained the day. The heroes have gained the day. We know from this chapter that word has already gone forth to all the forces of Rohan and Gondor that the hobbits are to be honored. Praise them with all praise, is said over and over and over again. And that Aragorn, our character, has come into his own as King Elisar. He will be the king of a renewed Gondor. A renewed Gondor and Arnor. He will be establishing the first great stronghold of the kingdom of men in the Fourth Age, which is now dawning. Even though there are large remnants of the Third Age that are still around. And those remnants are not dealt with in this chapter. They're dealt with in the next chapter. So really, in this post-reading Tolkien Day, we really don't have much to say. There's nothing in the Field of Cormallen to quote. There's nothing really to comment on or question. It's a point that I've made a few times. Tolkien is very much a proponent of building things to a climax, in this case 2 climaxes, and then falling action after that. He likes you to feel that. He likes you to loosen your gut, let out that breath that you've been holding, and reap the rewards of your victory. What the 21st century reading sensibility would call an anticlimax, or boring, even, as I've heard these chapters called. The Field of Cormallen is not boring. It's lovely. It's a lovely chapter, but there isn't much to snag a commentary on. That happens in the next chapter. So my post-reading Tolkien Day Return of the King video is going to be fairly brief. There isn't much going on here. Victory has been won. Our heroes are all fine. Frodo and Sam were saved. That is the cliffhanger of the chapter before this, but they are saved from ruin, and now comes the dispensing of the world. Basically, is what we're setting up for in this chapter. Now that we have won, now that it is a complete rout, now that victory is assured, we pick up the pieces and we dispense with this world. How will we order this world? This is a world that for the first time in thousands of years does not have Sauron. It does not have an ominous permanent threat in the east of Mordor. So, what will we do now? And those questions are all asked, but not a lot of answers are given. We get our answers later on in the next chapter and the one after that. So I'm going to wrap this one up early, just to let you know that I have not forgotten. We are getting close to the end of this book, to the final chapter and the great final line. And then we get to the appendices. We will read our way through the appendices, and then we will wrap around and do a chapter-by-chapter read of the Fellowship of the Ring, and then we'll be done with the Lord of the Rings. And then one of you can make an ambitious playlist of all of these commentaries. There isn't much to comment on this chapter. This chapter could easily have been easily and gracefully worked into the next chapter without being a chapter on its own. We've encountered a couple of those in the course of this read-through, and this is one of them in my opinion. But it sets the stage for tomorrow, when we will have much meatier things to talk about. So I will wrap this up now, and I will see you then. Thank you, BookTube.